Hello everyone and welcome to my best movies of 2016 list. I know it's a little bit late, but I didn't want to make it until I was 100% certain of the list and that I was 100% satisfied. 2016 was a bit of a weird year for movies. A lot of the big budget blockbusters that a lot of people wanted to be good ended up as okay, and that's pretty much how the year turned out. The year started off with some okay and good movies, but as the year went on, we got some incredible, if not instant classics. Before I get into the list, I just want to make a few things very clear. First of all, the rating that I gave a movie doesn't necessarily have an impact on where the movie is placed on the list. The placing of a movie on my list is primarily down to two factors. How much have I enjoyed it, and how much rewatchability do I think that movie has? Secondly, I did not see every movie that was released this year. As much as I wanted to, there were some movies that just didn't play anywhere near me, or there were just movies that I was too busy enough that I just didn't get a chance to see. And it's a shame, because there were some movies out there that I really wanted to see. For example, Nocturnal Animals, Kubo and the Two Strings, Don't Breathe, and even Hunt for the Wilderpeople were films that I really wanted to see but just didn't get a chance to. And this leads into my next point, which is that there are some movies that I know are on other people's best of the year lists but haven't even come out in the UK yet. Two, for example, include Moonlight and La La Land. La La Land doesn't come out until next week, and Moonlight I don't think comes out until February, so those won't be on the list either. And finally, the last thing I must talk about before getting into the list is, of course, the honourable mentions, and this year I do have quite a few. My honourable mentions for 2016 are Star Trek Beyond, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, Hush, Doctor Strange, Finding Dory, and finally, Moana. I know I didn't get a chance to review Moana, but I only saw it a couple of days ago, and I specifically said in my Neon Demon review that that would be my last review of 2016. So, as much as I wanted to, I didn't get a chance to review Moana, but I do think it is a very good movie. It's classic Disney doing what Disney does best, and the animation is gorgeous. Anyway, now that that is out of the way, let's finally get into my list. And at number 10 is a movie that may surprise quite a few of you. At number 10 is Hardcore Henry. Now, this movie is definitely not for everyone, but I have to say, I had a ton of fun with this movie, and I don't think I've had this much fun with an action movie for a long time. Of course, Mad Max Fury Road was intense, and it looked great, but Hardcore Henry did not take itself too seriously, and it was just a ton of fun. It was incredibly gory, really well shot, and they really pulled off the first-person perspective thing really well, and it had to make my list. Now, this year we had a lot of claustrophobic, self-contained thrillers that really worked, but for me there were two that stood out more than any of the others. And at number 9 is one of those movies, and at number 9 is Green Room. It's incredibly intense, it's really gory, and it does not hold back on the stuff that it shows you. And unlike most films where they do it because they want to, the violence and gore in this movie really does sell the intense situation that these people are in. And there are also two great performances from Anton Yelchin and Patrick Stewart. At number 8 is a movie I recently reviewed on the channel, and as soon as I saw it, I had to put it on the list. At number 8 is Sing Street. This movie was just really, really uplifting and joyful, and seeing how crap the year turned out, I feel that people need this movie in their lives to kind of bring a bit of happiness back into the shitty year that was 2016. The acting is great and the soundtrack is perfect for a film like this. If you haven't checked this film out already, I highly recommend it. I think it's on Netflix at the moment. Last time I checked it was. So if you have Netflix, try and look for it if it's in your region. I highly recommend this movie. At number 7 is the other claustrophobic thriller that had to make the list, and that is 10 Cloverfield Lane. From the moment I came out of the cinema watching this movie, it impacted me in a way that a movie like this hasn't impacted me before. It was incredibly intense, very suspenseful, and just the triple combo of John Goodman's acting, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and Dan Trachtenberg's incredible direction just all came together really, really well. And this is a movie that I just had to make the list because it was just so suspenseful and had me on the edge of my seat from start to finish. Number 6 is a movie that was originally quite high up on my list, but over the year it kind of went down. But 6, I think, is a good place for it, and it's the only animated movie to make my best of the year list. At number 6 is Zootropolis, or Zootopia if you live in America. Zootropolis for me was one hell of a surprise. I thought it was going to be a regular Disney kids film. That is not what it was. It had some great animation and some great voice acting, but that is not what makes the movie good. It's the fact that they managed to tackle such hard topics like drugs, racism and sexism all within a kids movie without it feeling forced or hitting you over the head with it. And it works. It's never too adult and it's never too child friendly. It fit both demographics perfectly without leaning too much towards one or the other. And that is why I think it deserved a place on my list. And number 5 is easily one of the best sci-fi movies of recent years. And that is, of course, Arrival. And boy did it pack one hell of a punch. This wasn't your average Star Wars-like sci-fi movie that had explosions and lasers and that. This was a sci-fi movie that made you think. And it didn't just tackle aliens, it tackled humans as well as aliens. And even though the basic premise is humans trying to communicate to aliens, it actually kind of does a role reversal thing by the end of the movie. And it just had me thinking about it for weeks after I had seen it. And I don't think a film like that has done that to me in a long time. I've never thought about a movie so much after seeing it as much as I did with Arrival. At number 4 is Captain America Civil War. This movie is everything I wanted it to be. Nothing more, nothing less. It was a great action movie. You saw characters that you'd grown to love fighting it out with each other, and it wasn't just the action scenes that were really good as well. The conflict that built between these two, both on the battlefield and away from the battlefield, was incredibly interesting, and the inclusion of Spider-Man and Black Panther was perfect and it did not feel forced. Now, usually when it comes to doing a top 10 list, it's the top 2 that I have trouble deciding between, but this year it was my top 3. These movies were just so good, I did not know where to put them and what order they needed to go in. But I think I found a decision that I am happy with, and I hope you guys agree with it too. And at number 3 is Swiss Army Man. Now, this is a movie that you either love or you hate, and I absolutely loved it. And seeing that it's a film about fighting corpse, yeah, they did pretty well. There are 2 things that make this movie great. The performances from Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, and the direction from the Dans. Both of these elements coming together to make an incredibly odd movie that somehow worked really surprised me, and I'm so glad I went out of my way to see this movie before the year ended, because it's honestly just one of the best of the year. Now, before I announce my top 2, I just want you to know that I love these movies just as much as each other. Like, if I had to, they would honestly win joint first, but I can't do that because it just wouldn't make sense. So, at number 2, my second favourite movie of the year is Deadpool. This was honestly so close to being my number 1 pick, but it just barely missed out. As a fan of the character, this movie did him justice in the best possible way. Might actually be the best representation of a comic book hero that there has ever been on a film, and I'm just so glad it worked out really well. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. I laughed a lot. It was incredibly fun to watch, and the action was just ridiculously stupid, but in the best possible way. If you've been following my reviews all year, you will probably figure out what number 1 is. But for those of you that haven't figured it out yet, my number 1 favourite movie of 2016 is The Nice Guys. Now, even though I said that I love The Nice Guys and Deadpool equally as much, and even though I did have more fun with Deadpool, I do think The Nice Guys is the better made movie out of the 2, and that's why it got the number 1 spot. Chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe is incredible. The script is honestly one of the best of the year, and it's directed really well by Shane Black. I'm so annoyed that this went so far under people's radars. Like, it is a really good film, and everyone that I know has seen it says it's good. So why did it do really badly? That confuses the hell out of me, and it really should get a lot more recognition because it's really funny, the action's really well filmed, and it's just a good movie. And it's my best of the year. So guys, that was my list for my favourite movies of 2016. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm thinking about doing a most anticipated list for 2017, but I'm not sure whether I want to make that or not. Comment below if you want to see that video, because I will take your guys' opinions on board. Also, what do you guys think of the new backdrop? The reason I'm not using the Blu-ray shelf like usual is because whenever I film a review, I am on my knees, because I don't know if you guys realise this, but that Blu-ray shelf is very close to the floor. So whenever I film a video, I'm on my knees for about half an hour to an hour, and it really does not help my legs. However, with this new backdrop, I'm standing up and my legs are feeling a lot better. So that is the main reason I have chosen this new backdrop. And also, I think it looks a bit more professional and a lot nicer than my old one. Anyway guys, if you like this video and you want to see more, then subscribe to the channel to see more. And yeah, I will see you in my next review, whatever that will end up being. Bye!